Hey, I'm Natalie, and I'm going to be starting a 5-video series on Proverbs 22:6 and what it looks like to train up a child in the way he should go. The verse says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and even when he's old, he will not depart from it." So throughout this series, we're going to talk about what that means, what that looks like as parents, and what the verse is really saying in its original context. Starting off, we're going to talk about the word roots of train and way, and then in the next video, we're going to talk about how a proverb is not a promise. It's not a law, and that's a good thing. In the next video, we're going to talk about building a firm foundation for our kids and what that looks like practically. Next, we're going to talk about parenting throughout the years. What do we do after we set that foundation? What's next? And then finally, we're going to talk about influences and responsibility, both as parents and as the church, and what it looks like to raising children. So starting off with today's topic, we're going to talk about the word roots of train. There's a lot of different definitions and word roots of train, such as educate, dedicate, initiate, and discipline. Some of the most common and I also believe most impactful are dedicate and initiate, starting them up, and it's commencing their journey to the Lord and through life, what that practically looks like. And so it can be meant as dedicating, as I said before. So it can mean to start your child in the way he should go, rather than the ongoing instruction that we typically associate with the word train. Train is so popular in today's culture, talking about exercising and working out and doing all these things to make sure you don't get out of shape. But really, in the context of this verse, it's the beginning of something. Some other translations include experienced, and then, like I said, dedicate before. Some of the original context, or where the word form was first used, was it came from rubbing the palate of a child with chewed dates to get them to suck. It makes them experience, it makes them submit or understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. So I think that this is a really important thing to know as we're training our children. We're making them familiar with the gospel and with the word and with God's love, and that encourages them to pursue it, and it starts them on their beautiful journey in such a loving way that we're feeding it to them gently so that they can understand it, but so that it's familiar and they want to keep coming back and understanding more and getting deeper in it. Just showing them and giving that real hands-on experience of how it works. Moving on to the translation of way, or really word roots of way, manner, custom, behavior, or mode of life. It's not necessarily the path or route that we typically look at or think of when we think of way. I think that it can be. I don't think that's necessarily a wrong way to look at it, but I think it's more representative of the process of the journey, not just the journey. So I have this great quote that says, "Raising and training a child within the context of this proverb means that it begins with the Bible, as all scripture is God-breathed and useful for teaching, rebuking, correcting, and training. Teaching children the truths of scripture will make them wise for salvation, thoroughly equip them to do good works, and prepare them to give an answer to everyone who asks them for the reason for their hope, and to prepare them to withstand the onslaught of cultures bent on indoctrinating young people with secular views." It sets them up so well to go into this dark world. It's such a beautiful thing, and I think that these word roots, and looking at this verse in its original context, but also in its original form, is so important and so helpful for parents to look at their children and look at their parenting approach and say, okay, how are we going to do this in love, and how are we going to start our kids off, not just set all of these rules, but how are we going to actively show that in our relationship with them. I'll see you in video 2.